Well, greetings, church family. Today's daily Bible reading had us in Exodus chapters 26 and 27. And in these two chapters, we get many more details about the tabernacle, both its construction and its contents. Chapter 26, verses 1 through 6, we see that even the curtains of the tabernacle had to be constructed precisely and created using the finest materials. And this is consistent throughout these chapters, isn't it? These 10 linen curtains were about 42 feet high and 6 feet wide. And the measurements that we're getting here, a cubit was about 18 inches. And so if we just take 18 and multiply it by the number of cubits given and then divide by 12, we get a rough estimate of how many feet these things were in either height or length or width. And so they were about 42 feet high and 6 feet wide. Think about that. That's an enormous construction, some 3 to 4 stories tall that would have been. Now, we do want to be careful not to read too much into which materials and colors and what measurements everything was commanded to be. They don't have a deeper spiritual significance in the sense that, the number of stakes that are being used or the number of clasps being used or the height, the number of cubits or the colors represent this or this or this. There's been lots of ink spilled in order to try and find extra spiritual significance in these details. The significance we want to see is that God wanted the tabernacle to be the best it could be, to reflect the fact that he is above all. He is king. He's going to manifest his glory within the camp of his people. Where he manifests his glory needs to reflect how glorious he is, and that's what's happening here. And of course, the best is for the Lord, isn't it? Don't we want to give our best to him? That's what he is showing the people in these passages that they need to do, and that they need to be precise about it according to what he has said. His instructions are specific. Now, chapter 26, 7 through 14, we see that there's also a goat's hair curtains that are made or need to be constructed. They're to be a tent over the tabernacle, around it, to make the tabernacle a more sacred place by keeping it hidden from the eyes of just anyone. And of course, it's so tall that somebody walking over, if there was this tent of goat hair around the tabernacle of linen, of the blue and purple and scarlet linen, it would certainly hide it from their eyes. And that's what we see with the measurements, right? They're the same width, 6 feet wide, but these goat's hair curtains, 11 of them, were about 45 feet tall. In verses 15 through 30 of chapter 26, we see this acacia wood boards, 15 feet long, sockets of pure silver to hold the tabernacle up. Verses 31 through 37, we see a veil, which is going to be separating the holy place from the Holy of Holies, and then a screen to go for the tent, a veil and a screen, and they're royal colors, aren't they? To match the tabernacle, this richness, this majesty that should reflect our majestic God. They're hung on pillars of gold-plated acacia wood, golden hooks, sockets of silver for the veil, sockets of bronze for the screen. And the veil would indeed separate the rest of the tabernacle, the holy place where the priests could come in, from the Holy of Holies where the Ark of the Covenant would stay, and only the high priest could enter the Holy of Holies. And so when you think about that veil, think about when Christ rose from the grave and the veil of the temple was torn in two. Now, this is the tabernacle, not the temple, but measurements are going to be very similar. That veil was tall. It was not a short veil that someone could somehow reach up and rip from top to bottom. That was the Lord doing this to signify that there was now no need for a human high priest, because the one fully man and yet also fully God, who had died on the cross, buried, resurrected, and ascended back to the Father, is our high priest, and that is Jesus Christ. Now, chapter 27, verses 1 through 8, we see a bronze altar had to be constructed, about 7.5 feet square and 4.5 feet tall, and sacrifices would be made to the Lord on this altar. And this altar, verses 9 through 19, show that was placed in the courtyard surrounding the tabernacle, right? And this courtyard would be about 75 feet wide. That's the west and east sides that we see. The east side was opened up for the people to enter into the courtyard, and the west side would have been closed off. And then the north and south sides were about 150 feet long. half a football field in length. Think about that. That is amazing. This is a large construction. And chapter 27, verses 20 through 21, only the priestly line could enter even the tent of meeting, the holy place. That's important to remember as we see this at the end of our chapters today. Well, the principles that we get, God cares about his glory, does he not? He cares very much about his glory. He cares that he would be indeed viewed as he really is, the one who is most majestic over all. And the Lord is very specific in his instructions, and that's consistent throughout Scripture. And God deserves the best, doesn't he? He deserved the best even of these physical materials used to build the tabernacle. So application for us. Well, we need to go out there and build a tabernacle for the Lord. Oh, I'm just kidding. That is not an application, but here's some questions just to ask that reflect these principles that we've learned today. Do you and I care about the glory of the Lord? Do we treat him as holy, as separate, right? As other than mankind? Not just better than mankind, but completely other than mankind. He is separate. He is holy. He is set apart. Are we careful to obey the instructions that he has for us today under the new covenant found in the New Testament for the church? And are we giving the Lord our very best? The best of our time, the best of our efforts, the best of the provision that he's already given us, the best of our thoughts and attention. Those are some questions we would do well to spend some time prayerfully reflecting on and taking to the Lord, asking him to show us our hearts and show us where are we falling short in glorifying him and seeing him as holy and treating him as holy and in carefully obeying his word and seeking to understand his word better and giving the Lord our very best of all of who we are. Well, this has been Exodus chapters 26 and 27, and I hope you have a fantastic day.